Going back to the very beginning of PEMF and its first FDA approval for non-union bone fractures, quite a lot of people might not know about the story Dr. Robert Becker and the frog and the salamander experiment. So can you share that?
Robert Becker, he was one of the pioneers in electrotherapy, energy medicine. Of course, his big contemplation was, how is it that salamanders regenerate and then like a whole limb, and why don't we? And why don't frogs that are close relatives of salamanders, right? So you'd think a frog and a salamander, they have all this genetic commonalities in their genetics. Why don't they both regenerate? What Robert Becker found was that there was a very high, like a high voltage, or you could say it's almost like a live wire. Like there's current flowing to that stump. What Robert Becker found, it was that electrical current was what stimulated the stem cells to, to regenerate, to differentiate and to regenerate the limb. What he found with the frog was that the stump, the current, there wasn't a voltage swing like there was a salamander. There was a little bit, but not nearly. With the salamander, went way up. With the frog, it didn't really take that big swing. So what he found was that when he added current to the frog stump, he could get a frog's arm to regenerate too. Another contemplation of his is, why do bones heal better than some other types of tissues in the body that don't seem to heal as fast or at all sometimes? So his interest was applying, for humans, this idea of stimulating microcurrents to regenerate, like salamanders, applying that to bones. You can use induction coils. You don't have to surgically implant electrodes. And that was of course, the big aha. That's what PMF is. You can use a PMF coil and induce, through Faraday's law of induction, microcurrents naturally using your own body's natural charges. They did a lot of research initially with beagles, then they went from beagles to human studies. And then from human studies, they got FDA approval, I think in 1979, for their bone stimulator. But it all started with, understanding from, how do salamanders regenerate?